ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, I'm taking a look at a French horror movie from 1982. That movie is Bloodsucking Nazi Zombies. I'm going to tell you guys right now, that is probably the cheesiest yet coolest sounding title I think I have ever heard. Now, I do know a little bit about the plot on this one. I know it has something to do with tons and tons of Nazi gold being buried, that has been buried in the Sahara Desert, and some guy is going out looking for it, and he quickly finds out that this Nazi gold is guarded by what I can only assume are Nazi zombies, which sounds incredibly stupid, but also kind of cool at the same time. Which means that I'm hoping for this thing to be awesome. However, with premises this, goofy and weird and kind of stupid, I do know that there is a possibility that this thing could very easily suck. And as some people have pointed out in the past, French movies have a real bad history with this series. I'm hoping for this thing to finally break the French curse. However, it could also suck on levels I have never seen. I have no idea, and the only way I'm going to find out if this thing is any good at all is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Bloodsucking Nazi Zombies. Well, guys, so far I can safely say that this movie is off to an incredibly slow start. And considering the fact that the movie's only an hour and 21 minutes long, a slow start is not really a good thing. So I am hoping for this thing to get more, I'm hoping for it to get more interesting in the next hour, but as of right now, guys, my hopes are starting to fade. Well, guys, good news is they are finally looking for the Nazi gold in the desert. Bad news, it took them almost a half an hour to get to this point in a movie that's less than 90 minutes long. The pacing in this thing is fucking brutally bad. Well, guys, I am able to say this, now that we finally get to see these zombies. At least the zombie makeup is pretty good. I mean, it's not great, but it certainly looks decent, especially when you consider the low budget this movie had. Guys, for being a zombie film, I guess I was kind of expecting better. But this story is still just dragging on. There's only about 20 minutes left in the movie. Our story has gone almost nowhere fast, and the dub in this thing is just absolutely atrocious. This honestly has been a little bit of a chore, guys. Guys, I have seen a lot of zombie movies in my life. I have seen zombies that shamble and stumble around. I've seen zombies that run as if they are fucking, like marathon, as if they're marathon runners. This is probably the only instance I've ever seen of walking, bored fucking looking stoned zombies. This is, honestly, guys, the laziest acting here is probably from our zombies, and I never thought I'd fucking say that. Well, guys, that was Blood-Sucking Nazi Zombies. Let's shut that off. Wow. I guess I was kind of expecting more Nazi zombies, but the only thing that really made them close to Nazi zombies is the fact that there was a swastika on top of a pile of garbage that may or may not have been burying Nazi, gold. Which, wow. Anyway, let's talk about the movie. Writing. I mentioned as the movie was going on, this thing took forever to get fucking going. And normally, guys, I have no problem with that. However, the big issue here has to do with the fact that this is a zombie movie. And when you take forever to build up a zombie film, especially when your movie is only an hour and 21 minutes, you really don't have the time to slowly boil, okay? Especially when you are slowly boiling to nothing, because I'm going to tell you guys right now, the first, I'd say about 15 minutes of this movie, you could totally cut and you would not lose a thing. Alright? The first 15 minutes of this movie is literally just padding that leads nowhere and serves no purpose. It's really kind of sad. And the story, even then, it still takes. And even, guys, if we were to just cut the first 15 minutes, it still takes them forever to finally get the story going and actually show us why everybody's there. We are following this. We're following this one guy and his friends as they go out looking for this gold, and instead of following them the whole time, we follow another team who goes out looking for this gold, and we see that they fail. And then we go back to our main character and his group of fucking idiot, friends as they go to visit his dad, because his dad knows where the fucking gold is. And that, honestly, right, there's like a 4.5 minute scene that goes nowhere. Guys, almost everything in this movie serves no real purpose. They could have totally come up with far better ways of trying to get us from nothing to zombies, and it would probably have been a little bit more interesting. Now, I cannot completely blame the scriptwriters for this, because I had to watch this thing dubbed, because that honestly is the only version I had that I had available to me. And the dialogue in the dub goes literally nowhere, and I have no earthly clue if that was in the original French script. I have no idea. So I'm going to mostly blame this movie's flat out fucking insistence on going nowhere, at least as of right now, on the dub, because I don't know if the actual script was any good at all. So if you guys have to watch this thing in English, you do have to be warned that this story is boring as shit because it's barely there. And when they do finally ramp it up a bit, and when you do finally see zombies, coming out, those scenes are so fleeting and they are so short that this thing, guys, barely qualifies as a zombie movie. And considering the fact that the stuff with the zombies is the closest thing we have to plot, story, or even anything of interest and almost anything of relevance, it means that this thing barely qualifies as a fucking movie. I'm just going to tell you guys, this thing here, at least in terms of writing, was terrible. Now, as I said earlier, I watched the dub of this, and the dub is hideous. We have some of the most wooden acting I've heard in any dub, which I'm also going to give at least a slight pass on the horrible dub, because you do have to understand that this is a movie from 1982. And in the 1980s, when the US was dubbing foreign films, we put almost no effort into fucking dubbing them. So naturally the dub is going to sound wooden and lazy. So I honestly am going to mark that off less as a sin against the film and more just basically with a problem with how we dubbed movies back in the early 80s. It still though means that if you do have to watch this thing, if you do choose to watch it, you're in for a tired and boring sounding dub, which is made infinitely worse by the fact that all of the dialogue is ridiculously muted, and it is being oftentimes drowned out by sound effects and background music, so you can barely hear what the hell is being said in most scenes. Which also means that it's even harder to figure out where in the fuck the story is actually going, because you can barely hear the dialogue, and that honestly is a problem with the sound mix. And now I'm going to jump to the sound mix for just a moment, because not only do we have muted dialogue, but we also have Foley effects that are coming in late. And I guys am talking late. And I am talking Foley sound effects, which are coming in so late that it's noticeable. I personally noticed it during a fucking scene when somebody was digging for this gold, and you can see their pickaxe hit. You can see it hit the dirt, and you don't hear it hit the dirt until at least a second later. It is that noticeable, and that problem carries through every single sound effect the film has, and all of that is because of an absolutely atrocious and terrible sound mix that wasn't even whoever the hell was doing the sound mix wasn't even trying, and obviously did not fucking care. And it guys, is a lot when I have to complain about the sound mix. But frankly, guys, when it is that bad and it has to be noticed, then obviously somebody fucked up. And I would probably have just written it off as perhaps, honestly, the audio is just completely out of sync on the copy that I have. But that is not the case, because all of the dialogue matches the fucking mouth movement. So it obviously is just that the sound effects were very poorly put in. Thus, it is worth mentioning. Camera work. I'm going to talk about something I never thought I would have to mention on one of these, and that is flash frames. For those of you who don't know what those are, when you are filming with a camera, and when you stop filming, unlike say a video camera or a digital camera, filming doesn't just instantly stop. The film actually and the camera actually has to wind down. So you basically have like a second, possibly two, it all kind of sort of varies from camera to camera, of footage where it is the camera winding down, and it is. And you can see that because it is a fade to white, and everything on camera is sped up because the film is slowed down. And normally a competent editor knows to cut this kind of shit. There are flash frames everywhere in this fucking movie because the editor did not care. And what makes it even weirder is that there are also videotape jumps, as fucking if somebody took this thing after they finished editing it in film, and then they edited the video, and there's very noticeable video and audio skips from editing the damn thing on video, which means that this thing was edited twice over prior to the copy I have. And in neither case was the editing ever decent, because then whoever the hell was editing the fucking thing on video would probably then have cut all of the noticeable flash frames, and they didn't. Instead, honestly, we had these scenes which just violently jump, and there is this very loud like audio like blip as the scene jumps. It's very, very weird. I totally understand, guys. I haven't even touched on like camera work and lighting and all that, but I really wanted to hit on the technicals, because this thing, guys, is one of the most technically flawed films I think I've seen in a long time. Because we have horrible sound mix, we have terrible fucking editing. It's like, I never thought I would have to bitch, guys, about flash frames in one of these videos. And I find a movie that gives me ample reason to bitch because it's all over the place. Oh my god. Okay, now let's jump to camera work. Holy fuck. I wish that the cameraman would have learned exactly what the fuck focus is. I also kind of wish that the cameraman would have learned exactly what in holy fuck white fucking balance is. Because this cameraman has never heard of either, which is probably why over half of the shots are blurry as shit, and the ones that aren't are completely washed out because the camera's white balance is completely out of fucking whack. My god, guys, this thing here borders on almost being unfucking watchable. And holy shit. And what really makes the camera work weird is a whole lot of the second unit shots. For those of you who don't know, second unit is the crew who goes out and they shoot all of your movies, and they shoot all of your movies establishing shots. So they honestly are the ones that will go and take, like a shot of a city or a shot of the desert. And there is a shot of the desert which kind of sort of shows off the big issue I have here when it comes to second unit. Because okay guys, now I honestly am just going to use what you see here as a nice like visual aid. I want you now to picture a shot of a desert. Now I want you to imagine this part of the screen looks perfect. Granted, it may happen to look a little bit, like blurry or washed out, but still, it looks fine. This area, you can totally see desert. This area, totally fucking black because they didn't know how to... I honestly don't know, guys, if that was a problem with the camera. I don't know if that was a problem with lighting. I don't know if that was a problem with the editing. Somebody obviously fucked up, and they fucked up royal. And that is seen in almost every second unit shot in the film. There's this big black arch on one side, and it looks terrible. And then, guys, to top it all off, there also then are normal shots where you basically will have like the corner blackened out. You'll have like this corner or this corner like totally fucking like blackened out and you can't see shit. It looks terrible. This, guys, is some of the most shoddy and terrible looking camera work I have ever fucking seen. Now, I want to go back to acting because I still haven't harped on the fucking zombie shit yet. Alright. Guys, I'm just going to cover zombies here as their own, like, separate thing, because there is a positive to zombies in this film. Then there's also a gigantic negative. The positive is the makeup. The makeup here on these zombies looks genuinely fantastic when you can actually fucking see it. When in the oftentimes rare chance that you actually get to see the zombie makeup and everything else, what the terrible camera work. Zombie makeup here looks awesome. The problem is the zombie acting. Guys, zombies, as I stated earlier, come in two forms normally: shambling or running. These guys all these zombies look bored, look stoned, and are walking at a normal pace and have almost no shamble or stumble to them, except for one zombie who opted to kind of slowly walk to the fucking right as he was walking towards camera in one shot. Zombie acting here is by far the worst acting I've ever seen from anybody playing as a fucking zombie, and it looks hideous. Guys, this fucking movie is just ultimately a massive myriad of problems, and I could probably talk about them for hours. This thing was terrible. So, guys, when all is said and done, am I able to recommend blood-sucking Nazi zombies? No, there is no fucking way. This movie is an absolute disaster. And apparently, guys, my curse with watching French films lives, because this thing is a massive, smoldering fucking turd. Now, I'm going to go and watch a decent zombie movie. And seeing as how this thing is such a low-budget zombie mess, I'm going to go find another low-budget zombie mess and go watch that. I'm going to go grab my DVD of Redneck Zombies, and I'm going to go and watch that, goddammit. Anyway, guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.